Hello, great ones. It is my birthday. And this is also the season finale of Live and Be Great season 4. And it's the 80th episode. So, turn 40 on the 20th, and this is the 80th episode. I got to see if that means something special, but it is indeed a special day, and I want to thank you for tuning in and joining me on this journey. Whenever you find this podcast, thank you for being here. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I hope to continue to inspire you to live and be great. So let's get into it. It's been a great season, but today I definitely want to talk about this transition into my 40s and out of my 30s. It never feels different the day of your birthday. It never does. It always takes a little while beforehand. And I am someone who usually gets a lot of anxiety around birthdays, period. Okay. And brief backstory on when that happened. There was I had a bully, right? Or a mean girl, because I feel like I was friends with popular people and people who weren't, as popular, who were loners. Because at the end of the day, I'm actually a introvert. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I am, right? So we were in band class in middle school, and, you know, my bully found out that I wasn't going to invite her to my party. I was turning 13 at the time. I'm like, I don't understand why you was expecting the invitation. And soon as she saw, because I had these little cute, they look like the ticket stubs you get when you win a raffle, but it was huge. It was like the size of both of your hands at the time, both of my hands at the time. So you can see like the bright red invitation, and she didn't get one, so she just started making a scene. If y'all go to her party, you're lame, you're this, you're that. And I think I only had about 3 friends show up because of that. Like, no one all the planning, all the prepping that went into it. It was devastating. So I've there was anxiety right now. Fast forward into my 20s. There were 3 near-death experiences that I had. The first one was, I was heading to a dance performance. I think that's the first one. I was headed to the dance performance, and the car ended up flipping 3 times on the way to the dance performance. So, yeah. Yeah, and we still got on stage. I can't believe we still got on stage even though the car was totaled. I still can't believe why did we do that? I don't know. Maybe we were like, we're grateful that we're alive. Maybe we're meant to be dancing. I don't know. I don't know, but we should have went back home. But and then the next time I was robbed at gunpoint, right? Around my birthday as well. And that was devastating. It was by my next door neighbor. We lived in a pretty nice neighborhood, which was crazy, but that was traumatic in itself. And then the following year, I want to say I went in for a surgical procedure, and they were telling me they have to do a blood, they usually test your blood before you do a surgical procedure. And then the doctor called me and said, your blood count is very, very low. We need to give you a blood transfusion, needs to be emergency, and you need to come back to the hospital right now, because if you get in a car accident, you're going to bleed out. You're not going to survive it. So you need to come back to the hospital. So that I do count that as a near death experience because I was in a car accident, shortly before that happened, a year or two before that happened. So yeah. During that time, when those 3 things happened, I was like, "Okay, well, let me start taking my birthday more seriously. Because why do these things start happening around my birthday?" So, all that to say is that was part of the anxiety was the main anxiety was feeling, um, that I wasn't supported enough or I wasn't good enough to have people celebrate me. That was that first half after that whole bully situation. And then it kind of shifted to where, no, I need to celebrate me being here on this earth, right? And then somehow, because of the transitions with life and adulthood, it went back to, do I deserve to be supported? So I would self-sabotage myself, and I would, even if I had an event, I would invite people late, so that it was like a, let me rip the band-aid off, and at least the disappointment would be my fault and not theirs. And, it won't hurt as bad if I actually give them enough time, enough notice to show up, and no one still shows up for me, right? So that is, something that I was dealing with, and it just all of that rushed right back to me during this 40th because I had time to plan it. But it was still, um, when you become an adult, people, might have children, they might get married, they might move to a different state. You change, right? Every year you're a different version of yourself. Every decade you are in a different tier or chapter of your life, right? So certain things, they just don't stay the same and people grow apart. And I think it's been getting worse, of course, ever since, the boom of technology and social media, and then, COVID. I feel like that even drew people further apart. And I spoke about this on a live that I did when I'm noticing that even people from the older generations, they're just looking at Facebook, and that's them checking on their friends, and they're not picking up the phone. Like, they're even living in neighborhoods where they don't know their neighbors when, just me growing up, it wasn't like that. We knew our neighbors, right? But into adulthood, but into this shift in society with technology and social media and, the distance, people have grown used to that distance. So I think that's part of what brought those feelings of, do I even deserve to be supported? What should I do? And then let's not ignore that we all feel like we should be someplace. All of us have an expectation during every decade of our life of where we think we should be. We also have the expectations of society. We have the expectations of our loved ones, of where we should be and what we should be doing. So that part, it isn't easy, right? That is my headspace. That was the type of headspace that I was in. So what I ended up doing is I ended up finally revealing to my family and my friends and my new friends and just everyone, all the different groups that I was a part of, just about that I've struggled with this, paralyzing anxiety. And they didn't know because I would say usually during my birthdays, I'm able to pull it together. Like, there's still people able to come last minute, or the times where, it was mainly around that time, that period, I would say from those near death experiences happened between the age of, I want to say 26 through 26 through 28. So I was riding off of that high, right? Of no, I'm still here. I need to celebrate my birthday, right? So those things, what I would do then, it still might be last minute, but I might push it back to the next month or the next 2 weeks or something like that. And then I would spread my birthday out from like basically the whole weekend so people can pick and choose what day they want to show up. And oftentimes what I'm thinking about is usually what would this person want to do? What would that person want to do? Not really me. And what I don't know, it was just always based on other people. And I'm realizing now during this time as I process it with my own therapist and things of that nature and people that I care about, it is me. Success is me proving that I deserve to be loved, proving my worth. And I was using events or things where I needed people to show up for me, but was afraid to say it as the determining factor. And I think we all do that, right? I think we all are doing that, especially when we have this bucket list or we raise these expectations. Some of them it's based off of our own thoughts, but a lot of it is influence of what we're being told that we should have or hit a certain mark by the time we get a certain age, you know? Now, I don't mean to ramble, but if you've been with me this long, if you're one of the day ones, or day twos or season 2, season 3, or whatever the case may be, right? You know by now that I have ADHD, I have anxiety and depression, you know? So those things are daily, I would say a daily struggle, but I would say having support helps you manage those things. But I had to reference my ADHD again because of the way I talk, the way I express myself. It is much easier for me to express what someone else is feeling than it is myself. I really, really, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I'm also working on my tribe finding me, right? Whether it's a close tribe or whether it's people I'm going to help by them hearing my podcast or watching my content or stepping into a coaching session with me, right? They're going to be based off of who I am. They're going to gravitate towards it. And it's not going to be this thing where I have to worry about, oh, I don't sound this way or I don't use these words or I don't look this way or whatever the case may be. I am by design for the people who I am supposed to interact with during this lifetime. And I want to honor that, right? So that is why you don't get a bunch of different takes when I record my podcast or a bunch of different edits when I record my podcast or when I, post on social media. You get me. You get me. As best as I could be. Presentable, of course. Presentable, of course, but honesty. Honesty is what you get from me, you know? So, what do you think? What do you think about what I'm saying today about these expectations? Comment, follow along. But back on topic, turning 40. I'm turning 40. Um, oh, that's what I was saying. I end up inviting people, but telling them, like, being honest with them and telling them, hey, I've actually struggled with this for a very, very, very long time. And this is why it might be late notice. This is why I might push the birthday back. This is why I'll spread it out between 3, 4 days. It's based off of that anxiety, and the underlying factor has always been, do I deserve to be loved? Do I deserve to be supported? And when we get to these different stages in our life, sometimes the world makes you question that every single time. when you don't fit the expectation. Listen, and for my millennials, they call us the saddest generation is because we were able to see our parents take care of their parents, buy houses and cars and buy their children cars and put their kids through school and their 401ks and retire earlier than expected. They were able to do that. Now, based off of the economy, based off of time shifting, it feels as though they just changed they changed the rules of the game. They changed the game entirely. It didn't tell us that it was going to happen. So now we have to unlearn what we've been trained to do. We were told all we had to do was go to school, right? So that's inherited. That was inherited, that pressure to reach certain benchmarks at certain ages. You know? That's what that was. So now we know that's not true. Now we know that the game has changed. So now we have to do our best to redefine what success looks like or what happiness should look like, right? We have to. That's the only way we're going to be able to, I think, enjoy our life and not just enjoy it. I would say live it, like actually live it. Working hard is great, right? That's great. But if you're working so hard that you're going months without checking on your best friends or your closest loved ones, that is not living. It isn't. Not even just checking on them, letting them know what you're actually going through instead of just focusing on you and your household. Like that's not living. That's actually a lot of pressure to put on you or your spouse or you and your children for it to just y'all, those are the only people that you talk to. It's a lot of pressure you put on them. So it should be expanded. You should be forming community. And if not, that loneliness that a lot of people feel, it comes from that. And I know I'm one of those people who would feel as though I don't want to burden anyone. So let me just get through what I get through by myself and hopefully, hopefully, when I'm above water, I can tell whoever or catch somebody up on it. But now we're to the point where we're going months and some people years without picking up the phone and think that you could just start from where you left off. And that's not living. And I know it's a lot of people that are not doing it on purpose. Time is just passing by because they're still holding themselves to a certain standard that no longer exists. It no longer exists. It's no longer obtainable because it's not real. And we really need to pay attention to that, right? And I'm a late bloomer, so I understand that there's the struggle of feeling as though you are left behind, right? And that you somehow missed the bus when it came to hitting certain benchmarks by certain ages. But the truth of the matter is rejection is protection. And some of us it just was the wrong season for us to bloom. It would have turned out worse. Some people are stuck because they put the pressure on themselves and they went too fast. And now they're stuck, you know? So I feel as though the slow pacing is not failure. To me, is data. That's what it is. And then dreams, they don't have to die. They can just shift, you know? They can shift. At 20, I was focusing on, well, I was still in college at the time, and I wanted to finish undergrad and go and be on tour with these celebrities, with Beyonce or Usher or somebody like that. Didn't work out. Kinda glad that it didn't, because when I did graduate and I got a taste of what the industry was, rejection is protection. Okay, I think I would have been ruined. I would have had way more trauma than I do now had I joined the industry, right? So now and then I was able to figure out during that gap while I'm watching people that, I went to school with, or I was in the dance studio with in my 20s, and I watched their experience, but it's still like, hmm. That wasn't for me, because I was able to realize, me being a dancer, that I don't wanna be judged based off of my dancing. I don't wanna go to auditions and have somebody tell me whether I deserve to dance or not. I learned that along the process, and dancing is more to me than just the performance. It is the connection. It is a spiritual awakening, heightening for me. It's therapeutic for me. It's how I connect. When I don't have the words, I can dance. Very, very special to me. So I kind of prefer it this way. I kind of prefer the fact that I have all these different talents and then people find out that I'm a dancer, right? I love that versus trying to hold myself to certain standards, because you know, like an actor. If you're an actor, oh, or are you in a movie? Was there anybody famous in it? Okay. Or are you on Broadway? And then after you get those things, it's, well, did you win an Oscar? Okay. And then after you win the Oscar, okay, how many Oscars? It's like, you could get to the point where they tell you, all right, this is the standard and this how you can tell if you are successful at what you dreamt about doing when you grew up. But also, if you don't have that happiness and you're just going based off of what somebody told you is a representation of success, you could get all the way there and feel like nothing and still feel unfulfilled. And I don't want that. So at this age of 40, I'm grateful for that. So that dream kind of, I don't know, kind of shifted. And listen, it feels great to still be able to walk to the dance studio wherever, from LA to New York to Atlanta to wherever I'm at. Popular dance studios, walk in, get the routine, and nobody have no idea what age I am. I got teenagers. Oh my gosh, you're so great. Still to this day at 40. Okay, I want to dance like you, and getting called out by the choreographers. I like it. I like that. I like just having that much, you know. The experience is great too, but I got the person that I don't know from Adam. I was able to communicate with them with something that I love so much without having to utter a word, right? That person needed to stop me and say, "Hey, I felt you." That's beautiful. That's how that dream kind of, shifted. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So that identity, it expired. It retired. Um, and yeah, you can feel as though, yeah, it could feel, grief can happen when you're still judging yourself based off of those standards, you know? And to be honest, I'm being real with you guys, and this is no offense to anybody who has obtained that type of success as a dancer, when they're able to dance with popular artists and be on the biggest stages. I've always been a supporting character. Dancers are supporting characters. They don't get the level of respect as the main character. They still aren't. They don't even have health insurance, and they should. They don't have unions, and they should. They are treated as if they are accessories when they put in so much work. So much work. I think if I were to have gotten that far, that maybe it's a possibility that I would have lost my love for it. Even hearing all of these horror stories with these entertainers and them falling from grace and getting canceled right and left and right, that started to dig away at my love for dance. So now I have to redefine again, yet again and again, and tell myself or ask myself, why do I love dance? I have to redefine why I love it. I have to redefine how I use it, where I share it, you know? It hurts because now I listen to music. I have my dance breaks every day, and I'm I am nervous about what's the next allegation. What other artists do I need to stop dancing to? I'm nervous about that. So that's another thing. Okay. That's another topic for another day. But, as far as the standards and you feeling left behind, no matter where you're at, I just wanted to share a bit of something that I love so much that I had to kind of redefine, you know? Redefine. One of my main reasons for going to Los Angeles to become a therapist and going to grad school there is because I could still act and dance. I could still do my original, what I got my degrees in. you know? Got even closer to the industry and it just it was too much to where I just stopped going to auditions. I just stopped and I was just focused on, okay, let me heal real people because this is not what I thought it was going to be and I don't want to be a part of it. To the part to where it's another transition because even in the health industry where people are supposed to care, there was also mistreatment there. So I had to make another pivot, right? Most people, oh, you're a therapist. That means you're a doctor, you got your PhD. So it's always some sort of shift. All right. So I had to redefine that again. Me switching from therapy to life coaching is I can still use my clinical mind, but because it's a cisgendered white male ruled profession that they base diagnoses off. And then of course capitalism is a thing. And people usually don't really, sometimes people, I didn't like what I saw, basically. And I needed to shift. I needed to be able to do whatever I could possibly do the way I do it for my clients. Still love therapy, still support the corporate part of therapy and corporate therapists. Love them. I appreciate them. But as far as how I wanted to move, I couldn't think anymore about, okay, you got your master's, now get your PhD. I might get my PhD later, but for right now, I needed that freedom of having my own business, but life coaching. I switched that again, right? That was another area that I could say I'm proud of myself for making that switch. It was difficult, and of course on hard days, oh, should I have, gave up my license and things of that nature? Should I just kept going? Should I go back to school? You're going to have those questions on hard days. Then again, the question you always have to ask yourself is, what is it that I decided to become this for? Right? And was it for myself or was it for somebody else? Am I placing judgment based off of how I truly feel or how society is telling me I should feel about me not hitting this particular benchmark, right? So, you know, I I survived and I'm still surviving. Still a work in progress. And I would say this next phase, because remember, I can't really tell y'all I don't think I can tell y'all how I feel to be 40. I don't. I don't. I did share with you about this birthday situation and this being a big birthday, how I procrastinated even more, but it's part of my symptoms and me revealing to my family and close friends and new friends that this is something that I struggle with, although I have a therapy background. That was the step of me redefining and being honest and transparent, right? And I think for this next phase of my life, not only do I have to look at the world differently, but I have to look at myself differently. I have to move differently. I have to let the past go. I have to. I want to honor my story, but I don't want to be stuck in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I don't want to be stuck in that. I want to be able to acknowledge the present, right? And the past is just data. It's just data. It's just data because things began to change, I would say, since the first recession, in 2008. Hurricane Katrina, all that during that time. Stuff started to shift. Like, I remember when it was, you in school, you got that one, you undergrad, 19, 20, you got one friend in the group that got the car and, can you run me to the grocery store? Can you run me can you take me to the laundromat? And yeah, come on, let's go. Can you pick me up from the airport? Yeah, let's go. Or you call your sister, you call your brother or whoever. After that recession, it was gas money. It was you got gas money, right? Fast forward to today, and we are missing actual benchmarks in our closest friends' lives, or expecting those so-called closest friends to show up when you ain't shown up. You can't even pick up the phone and call them, right? It's people, oh, I know it's your baby shower, but I can't make it because I have to work. Or I know it's your, I don't know, wedding or whatever, but I have to babysit, or I have my child. I don't know. It's just like it used to be a time where you make the sacrifices to show up for the people you care about, and now it's not like that no more. And part of it is that fear of, my goodness, like even thinking about people who are feeling sick, even for yourself, right? Because it does start with you doing that to yourself. And then if you don't give yourself grace, you're not going to make that sacrifice for anybody else, right? But it's people that literally have to think, even they know something's wrong with them, but they're so worried about losing their job that they don't go to the doctor in time. That shouldn't be a thing. So now we have to redefine it. And I know we're not all okay. And I know this is difficult, but we got to shift. We got to shift the narrative. We have to change the rules of the game or make our own rules that actually fit the truth of what we're all experiencing, you know? And I feel free enough to say that. I feel free enough to say that during this lifetime, I'm going to push myself to change the things that need to change and bring back the things that need to be brought back. Okay? I want reciprocal relationships. I want reciprocal career, right? Um, I want to love myself the way I would want someone to love themselves. That's what I want. And I'm going to demand it because this new version of me understands that I am lovable. Okay? I am. You are too. At 40. At 40. I do. And I can make new friends. I could call in new experiences and be present in the moment. That's what I want to do. And I think you should too. Let's make a choice. Let's make a choice to keep going, but let's make this knowledgeable. Let's tell the truth and redefine what success means. We don't have to perform youth for other people's comfort. We shouldn't. The stuff that we tolerated in our 20s, we can't tolerate in our 40s. Mentally, physically, spiritually, romantically, relationship wise, career wise, like it's what is actually the truth? What is your truth versus someone else's definition of what the truth is? That is actually going to allow you to live your life and experience it no matter what age you are. We want to still be responsible, but we don't want the expectations of the past to drive us off course. Because that, again, that's not living, that's not thriving, that's not a life. It's not. And if we want more, we got to give more. We got to give more. We got to support more. We have to make our happiness a requirement, our support a requirement, a reciprocated requirement, right? Let's not let's not let's not go numb to our mental, physical, and spiritual needs. Okay? So I will be returning. I'm going on a 6-week break, and this is the finale. I'll be back on April 3rd. Okay, back in rotation for season 5 of the Live and Be Great podcast. I can't believe I made it. I feel as though I didn't miss. It's interesting. I don't think I missed a Friday. I show up every 2 weeks per season. Try to give 20 episodes per season. This has been a good season. Cause usually since the beginning, first before season 4, it was whole year that I was taking off. And before that, season 3 to 1, sometimes I'd have to skip. So I'm very, very proud of myself that I didn't have to push y'all back. I did really good. I did really, really good. And I really, really hope that I'm still inspirational and motivational and supportive. And I'm grateful to be a part of your journey. I truly am. Okay, so I'll be back April 3rd. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening. I may have some extra content in between on my YouTube channel. So go and subscribe to Live and Be Great with Latonya on YouTube. Please do, please do, please do. And of course, go to my website. Links in descriptions for all the sessions and all my services that I offer. It will be in the description. And is that it? Yeah, happy birthday to me. I'm 40. Wow, I'm 40. I'll let y'all know in 6 weeks if I feel any different in how I feel while it's had a little bit of time to sink in. Okay? All right. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in to season 4 of Live and Be Great. Thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And don't forget to give yourself permission to not just live, but to live and be great. All right, y'all. See you April 3rd.